Thank you. We've got, I believe, 20 members here in person and 1, 2, 3, 4 online. So we're right at our magical 25, which seems to be pretty much every week. So thank you all for coming on this nice sunny day outside. We will start with our speaker, and Eileen Nelson is going to do the introduction of our community service award, one of our community service award winners.
Now, I know Rowan sent an introduction to Jim, but I went sleuthing online to find a few other things. And I'll read her introduction, which gives a good summary of what she is, but Rowan Childs is our speaker today. And in an article, I'm not even sure which magazine, it might have been Bravo magazine. There was a quote basically, but books have always been a part of Rowan Childs' world. Having moved around a lot in the first half of her life, she said books were something that were always there for her to rely on. Quote, I always remember looking at all the pictures, reading the stories, and being so curious as to what's going on outside my own world, she said. It was a really large, important part of my childhood. And when I had my own kids, similarly, I wanted to give them the opportunity to have all kinds of books in our home. But she always knew that there were people who weren't able to have those opportunities. So she set off to figure out what she could do to help the children in the community. So Rowan Childs is the founder and executive director of the Madison Reading Project. Rowan founded this nonprofit after seeing the discrepancy in literacy rates in Dane County in 2013. The organization started as a pilot program at the Salvation Army of Dane County, Darbo Drive location with only $1,000 and has grown over time to work with thousands of children and hundreds of organizations each year to provide free quality books and literacy kits to excite children, encourage a love of reading, and grow home libraries. Not only has she formed that organization, but Rowan does live in Mount Horeb. And in 2020, I believe, she took on the position of the Economic Development Director for Mount Horeb. In her 40-some years, as close as I can calculate, she has done a lot of stuff and she has a lot of energy. So thank you, Rowan, for being here.
Thank you so much for that introduction. That was really nice. Can everybody hear me okay? Great. Just see if I can go to my slides. 1 second. Here we go. Are the slides up on the screen for you? Awesome. Oh. Let's see. Let's see. Still up there? Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for the introduction. I was curious when you said you dug something up on me online. I always get a little worried what that might be. But I appreciate the very kind introduction. And I apologize that I'm not there in person today. I have a little bit of a cold from one of my children, and I did not want to spread that to anybody else during lunchtime, especially when we're eating or speaking with masks off. So hopefully I can get back to you another time to chat in person with you. So I would love to just go through our organization. Some of you, I believe I met at the awards dinner last fall, or you may have voted for us. So thank you in advance for that. And hopefully today you'll also get to know a little bit more about the organization and what we're trying to do. This is one of my very favorite quotes that I came across probably a couple of times during my lifetime, and actually received it as a fortune cookie right when I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do and how. And the quote by Margaret Mead, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." And I received that as a fortune cookie, and I taped it to my laptop. And often when I was frustrated or not sure which way to turn or what to do, I feel like that really spoke to me, and perhaps as your organization as well. You may realize that sometimes it doesn't take hundreds of people initially, at least at the beginning, to find some people to help you with what you're doing, or you may not have hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I feel like this is definitely true of our organization, and I would even say the Madison sort of greater Dane County area as well, where I feel like there's many thoughtful people who like to do good things and want to do good things for others. And that picture over there was sort of right in the beginning of the pandemic at our old book center, all masked and gloved up as we tried to figure out the safety precautions as we tried to get books to kids as quickly as possible during that initial lockdown. So a little bit more about us. We are at this point a 10-employee nonprofit. We are at the top of Fish Hatchery Road and have a new book center that we moved into nearly a year ago. And that is where we really hope to provide free quality books to children to really ignite that love of reading. Whether you're starting out at the very beginning as a baby, or you're in junior high or high school, and really trying to prioritize the types of books that we're able to give, and also to get them into the hands of not just children, but those who work with children or live with children. So that could be many different kinds of educators, community partners, and obviously all kinds of different caregivers as well. Some of our statistics. So since sort of that very founding pilot program in 2013, we've gone on to officially become a nonprofit. And just at the end of last year, we've given out over 255,000 books at no cost to 134,000 children. All of our books are free, no matter what program there are. And we really do our best to make sure they're as good of quality as possible. In addition to books during COVID, or sort of continue to do that, we also provide literacy kits. And that's something that we added on to our offering. So those could include, for instance, it could have a bag with age-appropriate books or a themed activity to go along with those books, perhaps crayons, all kinds of different things, coloring pages, reading prompts, so that when kids were stuck at home, they may not have those types of materials in addition to books. So we tried to sort of create, with some of our community partners, literacy-themed activity kits. And those have now sort of continued on, and we've given thousands of those as well. Some of the main programs that we offer, and you may have heard of one of our brand new ones that we just launched last week. So we do have our Big Red Reading Bus, and that is our vehicle that is retrofitted similarly to a bookmobile. And we take that out to a lot of program partners and schools, public events, and try and get kids on board to be able to pick out their own books, or it could be their caregivers as well. And that's been a huge success, to be able to attend all kinds of different events, and just having kids recognize our bus out on the street, or for the very first time giving some credibility and perhaps or assurance to parents or caregivers who don't know us that we provide free books, and that's what all about fun. So that's very specifically branded and created to make kids excited to come and pick out their books. Books for educators, I'll get into as well. Little free libraries, I know you're also excited about that. My First Pages is a program we launched last year. And most recently, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library that we launched last week. So I'll get to go through all of those with you. This is our bus. As you can see, there's pictures on both sides of kids reading of all different ethnicities, and everyone I feel like really enjoys getting in on the bus. And we have that organized not only by height, so that little kids can reach the books on the lower shelves. And then obviously for older kids, some of the older books are more appropriate for them. We also have Spanish books and some of the other languages as well. So we really try to curate the bus to where we are going or what the route will be that day. And during the summertime, it is pretty much booked nearly 6 days a week, and often go to up to 3 or 4 different partners per day. People love to have us come to all kinds of different activities that are going on. This is our Books for Educators program, is something we started 3 years ago as a way to offer teachers free books for their classrooms. As you may know, teachers often have to purchase a lot of their own books for their classrooms, whether they're continuing with that same grade or if they're switching grades, and teachers always want the best materials for their students. We've continued to fine tune this program. And at this point, it started, I believe we initially gave 50 books to 100 teachers our first year. Since then, the program has nearly doubled every year. And we've really tried to make the books that we offer teachers as high quality and as new as possible, because they really want the most relevant books in the classrooms. At this point, last year, the program, with very little advertising, there was over 550 teachers who applied for books, and we offered them 25 new books each. And we are still working through our wait list because there were so many teachers that applied for books. Even with some of the additional funding that we were able to secure, we are still working our way through this list, and it was definitely is a huge need for teachers, and a great way for us to also be able to engage with teachers and find out what other needs they have, or just that survey result at the end. Even with COVID, we tried to make it as accessible as possible, so they were able, through an online list, to express what the types of books they were looking for, what grades they were in, particular interests. And then if they wanted, they could even Zoom with one of our staff to go over the books selected for them. Ideally, we would love them to come into the center to shop for their own books if they would like. And you can see on those photos, teachers going through some of their books and out on their way. So we're hoping to continue to grow this program and make it even stronger this year. And the Little Free Library program is also something that's very dear to us. As you may know, I think many of you are involved in Little Free Libraries with your organization. During our sorting process of donated books, we always have books that we say are sometimes a little overloved for our high quality book giving program, but are absolutely great books. And so often some of our books we put aside for a Little Free Library program. And then we also have a staff member dedicated to this during the slightly warmer days, and our volunteer program as well. So anyone can come pick up Little Free Library books from our organization to put into Little Free Libraries. We also have our volunteers help with this, stocking particularly Little Free Libraries in low-income neighborhoods, where often sometimes those Little Free Libraries are forgotten. And then we've also started placing our own little free libraries in particular neighborhoods too. And I know that we were given 2 of little free libraries from your organization last fall. The My First Pages program is something that we launched, I want to say it was September of last year. And this is a very particular program with very specific types of books for very young children, ages 2 to 4. And we partnered with Reach Dane in particular to start off with for our pilot program. And we'd like to be able to provide each child up to 1,000 children through Reach Dane with 10 very curated books for them to keep each year. So you'll see there's bags that they were given with the 10 books at each quarter. And these are very specific to making sure that the books are linguistically matched with the children. So each bag could have been slightly different pending that child's language spoken at home. You can see there's our volunteers who are helping us put all of the particular books selected for children and then out to nearly every single Reach Dane location. So we're really excited to be able to offer this program. There was, I believe, over half of the book bags that went out were bilingual or in Spanish. And this is our most recent program that we were excited to launch last week. So we are partnered with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. And this is a program that is available to any child under the age of 5 in Dane County. And the registration currently is all online. And we knew that parents would be very excited about this program. It's available to anyone, no matter what their income level is. They just have to be in Dane County. We have, in just less than 1 week, over 65,000 children have been signed up. 6,500 children have been signed up, which is way over our sort of goal for the week, never mind probably for the month. But I think that goes to show just how excited parents are and schools and many of the programs we work with. To give you an idea, there's around 30,000 children at any given time in Dane County under the age of 5. So whether a child is born today or if there are 3 or 4, they are still eligible to be signed up. And then once they are signed up, they will receive a book every month in the mail, and it'll be age specific to the child. So we're very excited to be able to offer this in addition to our other programs. And of course, always want to show you some of our work that we're doing. On the left, you can see one of our staff, Gloria, out at one of a community partner sites, setting up a version of like a Scholastic book fair, but where everything is free at a middle school. And then on the right, there's some happy kids up on our book bus. In the summer, like I mentioned, we're out a lot at a variety of different community partners, helping with not only providing books, but often story time and programming. And also wanted to give you a view of our book center. We were able to move into a space that was about 4 times larger than our old space and now have much more room for volunteers and of course books and our growing staff. And this makes it much easier for us. We're right on a main floor in a retail setting so that we are able to see out into the parking lot when people are arriving or pulling up with books, or if they're here to pick up their orders or vice versa. And obviously books are heavy, so it makes it much easier for it to be on a main floor. So it's easy to come in and out. Or if we get a large book delivery with a truck, with a freight truck or anything like that. It's easy to bring our materials in and out. Always happy photos of kids and books. We love those. The other things that people often ask us is how to get involved. And there are many different ways, even with a pandemic. So we do offer a variety of different ways if you would like to purchase books or book kits, both locally here in Madison or online. And we have a variety of links on our website so you know which books exactly we're in need of. We're always open to people hosting a book drive or fundraisers for us, financial contributions, or to come volunteer. Currently, we're hoping to have volunteers back at the center sooner than later, but kind of paused that a little just the past couple of weeks. But also still offer volunteering through our little free library program and some other opportunities, and you're able to sign up for our volunteer newsletter yet. And then finally, we do have coming up in May our annual fundraiser, which we did not have last year. It's a very creative, it's a paper fashion show, which is a little unusual, but we had to make it fun. And we'll be doing that at the Majestic. And I'm always happy to give you information if your group would like to participate in it. And finally, thank you. I definitely open to if anyone would like to ask any questions, or if you always have any ideas, or I'm always happy to share any questions about books too.
Thank you, Rowan. Incredibly effective organization in its infancy, so keep growing. I'll relay questions if you can't hear them. Tom Smith.
What is Reach Dane, and is it focused on minority groups, and how do you keep track of who your markets are and not overlap too much, or don't you care?
I think I heard most of your question. So Reach Dane is a multi-county organization. They are also in Greene County, and it is a Head Start program. So it is a specific income level. It's a program that involves both the caregiver and the child. And then the child is also there, I believe, several times per week. We started with this organization since they are very specifically children of low income. And potentially we'd like to be able to grow our First Pages program beyond Reach Dane. And then I wasn't quite sure I heard the rest of your question.
I think you answered it sufficiently.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Other questions? Go.
How is the Dolly Parton program funded? Was that paid for mailing as well as for the books?
Yeah, logistics of the Dolly Parton partnership and mailing books to the kids if they get one a
Sure.
month. Do you handle that? Do they handle it, et cetera?
Yeah, that's a great question. Dolly Parton Foundation does a great job of already mailing them out. What they do, since they already mail thousands of books out every month all over the US and actually to other English-speaking countries. So we help register the children, do a lot of outreach, assistance with helping people sign up. So there's often questions around mailing addresses, types of information they need, or if it was a grandparent registering a child. So once we help people register, it's similar to sort of like a book subscription program. So once they're in the program, we sort of allocate every month those amount of kids to go through, and Dolly Parton handles, well, her team handles all of the logistics of mailing out the book, which is great, so that we don't have to purchase all of those books and then go to the post office with thousands of books to send out. So it does make it easy for us to be able to do that.
Dick.
I'm just curious if the Madison Reading Project has any relationships with major children's book publishers to get volume discounts.
Volume discounts from publishers. Do you approach them and do they support the project?
Yeah, we have a variety of relationships that we continue to hope to grow as we continue to purchase more and more books. So we are able to purchase larger quantities of books and get a discount on those, both from a local store such as Books for School, who is a supplier locally based in Madison, but also online businesses as well. We do try and continue to grow our reach with different publishers, since we are able to purchase a larger volume of books, but also just so they're aware of what we're doing. So that's something we always continue to do, to reach out to local book publishers or even to authors. And that has been nice over the years to sort of be able to either get books at a discount or receive them for free from a donation.
Ken?
I think the program is fantastic, I commend you, but is there a way of measuring your success?
Yeah.
Are we getting better reading scores in schools, or I would just think that if we had some way of measuring it, you could go ahead and say,
Yeah.
how successful is this? Can you give us some more money and get more donations that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is a little tricky since we work with many different children of all different ages. What we can do that makes it a little bit easier to find out some of our results is through specific programs where we also get to survey parents or schools or teachers specifically on the effects sort of before and after we're partnered with them. So for instance, even our Books for Educators program, we ask teachers who participate to let us know what their classroom library and kids before they get the books, and then during and after. So sometimes we'll find out that more kids are more eager to read the new books, or they don't even want to go out to recess because they're so busy reading the new books, which we love to hear that. Or likewise, for example, with Reach Dane, where children are very young, so they're not reading yet. But again, we get a lot of feedback from parents and caregivers and teachers on learning some of those very formative reading skills and habits, such as our parents reading more often with their children now that they have more books in their home, for instance. Some of the other programs, we do have a pilot with a couple of elementary schools to provide each teacher over 100 books per year, and they receive about 25 per quarter. And those are something we are testing out specifically with literacy rates. And that's an ongoing study. So that's something that isn't obviously a quick turnaround, but where we'll be tracking particular classrooms and grades.
In my previous pre-retirement work, I worked with the school district, and I recall that there's like over 100 different native languages in the homes of Madison students. How do you deal with that, or can you deal with the variety of languages that are spoken at home that would really help students?
Yeah, that's it's pretty awesome that there's over 100 different languages being spoken by children in Madison. That's amazing. Yeah, we do get all kinds of requests for different languages or materials that are bilingual. So sometimes some books offer one page in English and the other page in Spanish, for instance, or Arabic. And we are able to purchase those types of books currently. It just depends sometimes too. For example, Hmong, which we also get book requests for, that is traditionally not a written language. And so a lot of the books we purchase in Hmong are usually for early education, or sort of, I would say, sort of elementary age and younger, versus books for middle schoolers or high schoolers because they've become harder to find and purchase. So we really try our best to take in those requests and see what we can do. Obviously, our literacy specialists and staff aren't an expert at every single language and finding all of those books, so they can be hard to find. But we try and do our best with that, and are definitely, I would say, pleased at this point to be able to offer those new books to families and schools. But we always, at this point, for example, Spanish books have grown immensely over the years for what we're able to provide. But we're always in need of more books because we get so many requests.
Jim,
Yeah, about 10, 12 years ago, we had a speaker who was a pediatrician, but he also had a degree in reading somehow. And he told us that he would prescribe to parents of young children 20 minutes or 10 minutes of reading every night. And that was something that kind of kind of surprised me or interested me. And I'm wondering if you ever thought about getting together with the medical profession to have them think about doing the same thing.
Yeah, there is a couple of different national organizations that could be part of perhaps that pediatrician that you mentioned. Absolutely, especially with working with different clinics for all, or whether it's for young children or all ages, organizations that work with young families, or even adult groups such as Literacy Network. We always sort of pre-COVID, be able to go and talk to parents or to doctors about getting books into the hands of parents and children, and also that importance of repeating that daily, not just once a week or when the book comes home that very first day. That is something we're hoping to be able to talk to more doctors and nurses and health practitioners with the Dolly Parton program, since we'll be doing a lot more outreach, since babies will be able to be signed up immediately. So we're hoping we'll be able to give more awareness to reading when you're very young while we're doing that too.
Jim has another one.
I just wondering if, do you use a lot of volunteers, and are you accepting volunteers?
Yeah, great question. We'd love to have volunteers help out, whether that's ideally in our book center, helping sort books, whether those are new ones or used coming in, or packing up orders, little free library programs. When it's a little warmer too, we do have volunteer opportunities when we're out with the bus or at public events during the summer. We also have a couple different fundraisers. For example, we always go to the Steve Stricker PGA Tour and do different things like that as well, where it's always really helpful to have volunteers come and help out with us. You can send an email, but we do have a volunteer newsletter and a sign-up list, so you can fill out your information and what you're interested in doing. And we have a coordinator who does her best to try and match up tasks and things that people are good at. Obviously, the pandemic has put a bit of a temper on that, but we're trying to get people back into the center.
I'm envisioning perhaps a volunteer from our group to be a coordinator of getting the word out to every member of our club about these volunteer opportunities, and thinking about Circle K and Key Club as a cross unit. Circle K is a university, and Key Clubs we have at Memorial High School. So we need to stay in touch. And I think our award to your organization I have no qualms about you applying again and things of that sort. You have a great organization, and I think we're out of questions here. So one more from Ken.
Just wondering if you have some group looking at your whole organization and looking ahead for 5 years or 10 years, where you hope to be or long range plans.
Yeah, I think I heard that. Where would we like to be in 5 years? Is that what he said?
Yeah, and is there professional help that can help you focus on the future and expanding?
Yeah, we have been over the years sort of thinking through some of our strategic planning and definitely our goals list. It's been pretty amazing to be able to say that initially, the Big Red Reading Bus was a huge wish of ours, and it was great to be able to see that come to fruition and see how we were able to make such an impact with that, and also how much our organization grew when we were able to bring the bus online and just be able to really reach kids where they were and not just where we were able to get to with a couple boxes of books in an employee's vehicle. And likewise, some of the other things that we've looked to do, such as grow our own book center to a much bigger location, and some of the different outreach and programs. So we're always looking at our strategic plan as far as what we would like to do or need to do, or some of the different opportunities that are out there. And I didn't quite hear the very end piece, or the very last question. Were we looking for help with doing that? Or sorry, if you could remind me.
You're fine. Basically your strategic plan. I have a thought of, have you partnered with the School of Education on campus?
We have not.
We had Diana Hess, the Dean of the School of Ed, here a couple of months ago to talk to us. I know her personally. There might be a faculty researcher, staff researcher who may be intrigued by what you're doing and could help you with some of your assessment ideas, at least consult a little bit. So
yeah, that would be great.
I'll see if I can turn anybody up and connect you electronically.
Yeah.
Last question,
Fantastic.
What about a second or third bus?
Ken. Yeah, what about more buses?
Oh, that's actually on our staff wish list, is to plan for next year. The wish specifically was a fleet of buses. We dream big, but definitely since the success of one bus, we definitely weren't able to get everywhere, even last summer during COVID, with the amount of requests. So we're definitely looking at what other types of vehicles we could add to the fleet, and also seeing if we could definitely also make sure one of those was accessible for wheelchairs, because that's something that we aren't able to offer currently. But we're definitely looking at seeing if we can add not just one more, but maybe two.
Just another connection. We support the Miracle League of Dane County, which is out in Cottage Grove, and it's a softball league or baseball for children with physical and mental disabilities. Maybe we could have the bus come out there for one of our evening games, because the families could then engage with the books and things. So just another thought.
I like that idea.
And Bill Schultz, who is the president of the whole Miracle League and got it started, is a member of our club. So we'll have to get Bill connected with you.
That would be great.
Okay, thank you very much, Rowan. Amazing work, and thank you.
Thank you so much from all of us at Madison Reading Project. And if anyone would like, a personal tour of the book center, or one would like to come with a couple people, we're always happy to give tours at the center too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
I have, I moved my office from campus into my office at home, and it's all in boxes, and I know I have a bunch of children's books that are science related that I'm gonna donate, so think about that if you have grandchildren who are through reading books and things, obviously.
Well loved or are they brand new?
Mine are pretty much brand new since I didn't pass them out very much. And I know the little free libraries were connected with them to get books, correct, Eileen? Yeah. So potentially more partnership here. Ken?
If you don't have books at home, go to Goodwill or St. Vinny's and buy some books
Yeah.
and donate them.
Yeah, and feel free to bring them to a meeting, and I can bring a box and we can start collecting them and not have everybody running all over at the same time. So just like the pillbox, we can do book collecting here too. Tom?
I'll defer to Eileen on this, but aren't virtually all the books they give out brand new?
I think she referred to that. They prefer that, but I think they do have some use that they will accept.
They'll put those in the little libraries.
Yeah. So same impact.
Kids want brand new stuff,
Yeah.
and then we found that out briefly with the cops and kids. They like the new books. They're
Yeah.
also shiny.
So we'll figure it out. Okay, so keep thinking. I spurred a lot of thought in my mind here. Announcements. I know Tom has an announcement.
Another wild bingo game this Thursday, 10:30 at Opal West. We'll always look for more people come help us, so we get a couple pieces of free candy too, guys.
So I will be there.
Opal West. Last about an hour, so 10:30, 11:30. So we meet in the front lobby about a quarter after 10.
And we're getting more and more every week. And
Yeah,
based on the discussion last week with aging in the brain, I can see where bingo can help with both mental and physical. I mean, I will not put the chips on a number. That's their job.
You want to stay eternally young, come play bingo.
Yep. Okay, Jerry.
I think you probably, if you looked at Kevin's email that came out yesterday, the announcement was already in there. We had our blood drive at Department of Revenue last Wednesday, and we had 58 donors. Now,
Good.
2 months ago, December 1, we had 48 donors. So you can see it's growing back again. And if you were one of the people that participated in helping, you'll realize the minute you pulled in the parking lot, it's now pretty full. And before it was only very minimally full. And they're gearing up now for their big push with the April 15th deadline for taxes. We had Tom Rod, John Esser, Cole Williams, who was with Cole? Abe was with Cole and Bob Rand and myself that volunteered. And we had a great model that donated, so we got a picture, Eileen.
Yeah, it's going to be spread all over the Kiwanis world.
You'll have to wait to see that model.
No, just everybody sent me.
The next blood drive is going to be in May, and I thought it was the 10th, but the woman that helps coordinate with the Department of Revenue told us that it's going to be on the 3rd. So that's a few months down the road. They always skip March, April anyway because of tax season. So that will be the next blood drive.
And unless you've been living under a rock, you know there's an incredible blood shortage out there, and platelets and everything is needed. So if you are a donor, I got to get back out there. I got rejected at the Christmas one at the Alliant Energy Center because my iron was too low, but we need blood. We need blood out there. So I eat a lot of spinach. I don't eat meat, so I'm always, maybe 1 out of 5 times I get rejected and have to go back. But yes, great work, Jerry, because there's a dire need for blood. Abe.
Can they hear if I talk here? Can they hear on the screen?
Can you hear Michael? Yeah.
They can hear, all right. We need to make a little bit of a big ado about an award that one of our members received just this last week. That's Kevin Neame. He was inducted, he's been chosen to be a fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. That's probably the leading general science association in the United States. And I think they're how many years old?
Yeah, it's well over 100.
It's well over 100. And they have multiple sections, and every year the sections choose or recommend people of note to become fellows of the association. There were 13 fellows selected from the University of Wisconsin-Madison this year. Kevin was the only one that's not a professor. So, congratulations, Kevin.
Thanks, Abe. I'll just continue blowing my own horn here. Alan Alda was elected from my section also. If you don't know, he's doing a lot on the East Coast around science communication, and that's the group I'm part of. So I don't get the pleasure of having a banquet with Alan this year because the conference, which is supposed to be in Philadelphia in a couple of weeks, went all virtual a couple of weeks ago. So we don't have our induction banquet, but they say we're going to be honored somehow. But I've had a note from Paul already, and Becky Blank sent me a congratulations. I feel like it's kind of cumulative. I mean, not any individual impact, but I just plug away. And I always say it's with the people I associated with that we all deserve those kind of honors. And I picked the right people to work with over the years. So it's great. So thank you, Abe. Other announcements. Eileen.
Not an announcement as such, but a comment. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, when we did our response to the survey, one of the comments that was made is, well, what could we do as a signature project? And who's going to come up with that idea? And who's going to organize it or whatever? And how are we going to fund it? Well, there's an answer to all of those if we just choose to look for an answer. But as I listened to Rowan, I saw two things, and I think I'm on the same wavelength as you. One is a bus.
Yes.
Two is being a bigger part or helping her support the books for educators. She indicated that they had 600 and some teachers asking for books, and they are able to do that. But that could be something that could become continuing. Just putting it out there. Yep. While people are listening.
I totally concur, Eileen. What she's been able to do in what, 8 years since they incorporated, 250,000 books given out to kids. If you don't know the data, reading is the one skill that helps students succeed to the greatest extent. So getting them reading early is just so critical to success in our K-12 system. Let's set up a little subcommittee to figure out things out. We'll need somebody from the foundation probably to help us with this, but I totally agree. Dolly, can you help with it? I would call on you and others. But a new project that unites, and I see Patricia's on. This could be connecting to your initiative with the homeless, or excuse me, the foster children and reading, tutoring, mentoring. There's a lot of angles we could take with this, but I think if we need to focus to start off and see where we go. But I think involving Circle K and Key Club in this could be a really neat way to get 3 different organizations working together in Madison here to help further the reading literacy in Dane County. Patricia, please go ahead.
Oh, I would just say I would like to work on this project with Eileen.
We're not going to turn you down. Okay, thank you.
I nominate
Eileen. You'll get plenty of help, Eileen. Ken, you're nominated.
Strategic planning.
Yeah. And we'll obviously talk with Rowan about our initiatives and our activities. Eileen?
One more thing, Bill Schultz asked for volunteers and he got a hold of me and asked me for email addresses for the club. I did send them, but he wasn't able to open the file, so that's why nobody's heard anything. I will get him the list of our emails. I have already done my thing since you guys know I don't particularly care for kids. So I don't like hands-on stuff with kids, but I'm supportive. So I volunteered to be the assistant to their membership coordinator,
Volunteer coordinator. Okay.
And do database work.
Can Bill get on the website or?
He probably doesn't know he can, but that was gonna be my next, yes.
Because sooner than later, baseball season will be here in spite of the snow and the cold. But I know, Tom, are you going to volunteer again?
I'll be there.
I'll be there. Others, it's a fun night once a week. And if we coordinate, if you can't make it every week, we'll cover for you. But it's an amazing program. And I think we could have a reading night out at the ballpark too. So that'd be fun. I got to get my list here. My memory is gone. The aging brain. Next week. Just to remind you, and John Esser has the moment of reflection. Next week is the Madison Community Foundation. And on the 14th, you need to explain this one, Braver Angels and Depolarization.
That was a recommendation from Ed.
He forgot.
What was that about again?
The title I have is Braver Angels and Depolarization.
Oh, how did I get that?
I don't know, but you sent it. Here's what I think it is. I have to draw it. I think what it is, it's a program that.
Oh, Ken's got it. Ken's got it.
I'm just gonna suggest it's a program that gets different groups together and they talk and they see that we're all in the same boat.
Oh,
I just found somebody that can introduce it.
okay. So like the collisions kind of conversations where it's people who don't interact, but you force them to, and they find some common ground to work on things.
One of the speakers,
Okay.
I believe, is a minister. So
Okay.
there's something in there as well.
It sounds interesting.
That's what Ed said. Ed said that.
Ed said that. And then we have a Clemson professor to talk about the economy the week after that. So
Yeah, that's the paradox of the United States economy.
paradox of US economy. So a lot of good talks. Jim, again, thank you for arranging all of these and ideas. Keep sending them to Jim.
Yeah. One of the things about the, I'll say it anyway. One of the interesting things about the economy, some of you may know that we have the highest unemployment, the lowest unemployment rate since what, 1984 or something.
Yeah, it's incredibly low, but that also means a lot of people are out of the system too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We don't know. Okay, Tom.
You were gonna.
Yeah, Meg.
highlight stuff, so.
Meg and I have had, okay, hang on, Tom. Meg and I have had communication problems. I've been sending things to the wrong email address of hers. So I have not received the report. Can you give a minute on summarize anything, or, because I can't remember 2 weeks ago. We'll are you going to be here next week, Meg?
No.
No. So send me them, and are you going to be here next week? I will summarize the board discussion after our club discussion and see what we talked about, because like I said, I don't remember yesterday. So, except there were some good football games.
Hell,
Leonard, do you remember what the board talked about?
Yes, but I'm not gonna take up the time now.
I agree. We'll do it next week. Eileen,
All I can remember is that of some of the suggestions that were made that day, we did not do any action items at the board.
right,
Because one of them was that we should get together, have consider
Social.
evening sessions so that we could make sure that those who aren't with us could come.
so I will take the notes from Meg and try to come up with some action items that we can discuss whether we want to choose to follow them. Thank you, and I'll use your correct charter email. Yeah. I want to acknowledge Dennis if he's still on as our guest, and he left. So Madison West has been attending a lot of our meetings, so nice to see Dennis and Ron Schuler routinely. And thank you to Stan, Michael, George, Angel, and Patricia. Any comments from any of the Zoomers? No. Anything else? Oh, Michael Doran.
So I just want to report a tremendous success, and I don't mean to be advertising for anybody here, but I found myself a couple of years ago a little bit out of shape. So the combination of a program at Anytime Fitness for adults and Weight Watchers' new app has lost me 25 pounds and 7% body fat.
Whoa,
I got a question for Michael.
very impressive.
I got a question for Michael. I want to know how much muscle he put on.
Do they measure
Well,
muscle?
I didn't lose any muscle. And that's a major, when you lose that much weight, to not lose any muscle is a big deal. So I feel pretty good about the whole thing.
Very cool. Good job.
He's forgetting one thing, and it's his new marriage.
Oh, yeah, the new marriage had something to do with it, right? No answer.
Yeah, Ken Kosick knows all about that.
Okay. John, you can close out our meeting with a moment of reflection. Thank you.
Mask get tangled and everything. It's going to be a little history lesson today. So does anybody here know anything about the coldest station in the nation term? Coldest station in the nation. Well, here we go. We'll start with it here. 71 years ago, yesterday, on January 31st, 1951, Lone Rock, Wisconsin, claimed the dubious fame as the coldest spot in the nation when a minus 53-degree temperature was officially registered on a thermometer at the Tri-County Airport. Temperatures were so low that night that the official U.S. Weather Bureau thermometer couldn't handle the actual reading. The instrument was made to measure temperatures down as balmy as 47 degrees below zero. In 1976 we're going to put this down a bit. A 1976 home news story by Don Greenwood with information provided by the Lone Rock historian Jim Greenheck said Bill Sidko was working that night shift at the airport. When Sidko attempted to make the official reading, he found that the thermometer's alcohol contracted into the bottom bulb well below the lowest calibrated mark on the thermometer. He then arrived the official minus 53 degrees reading by calibrating the distance from the top of the bulb downward to the minus 47 degree mark. It was actually probably several degrees colder than that, Silko said later. Jim Heck remembered that day. He went to work as usual at the Chevy garage in Lone Rock. It was so quiet, you could hear a penny drop on the street. Arriving at work, he said everything was frozen in the garage. He received a call from the Bear Valley Cheese Factory, where the milk truck failed to start. Driving the wrecker from the Lone Rock garage in Lone Rock to the cheese factory, Greenheck said the extreme temperatures caused some unusual physical consequences. The paint flew off the hood of the truck. He said when he attempted to tow the stalled milk truck, its wheels were frozen so solid it skidded on the ground. Uncle Tony Greenheck, mayor of Lone Rock at the time, began fielding calls from media outlets around the nation as word spread of the frigid temperatures. While wind currents flowing down a draw through Bear Valley in the direction of the Lone Rock, and that would have been north of Lone Rock, and the Wisconsin River may have contributed to the harsh weather, Greenheck added. We don't get weather that we used to get. He has speculated the global warming may be responsible. Thus, nearby Lone Rock, 53 miles and 1 hour west of Madison, became famous for one day, the coldest station in the nation. Thank you.
Embarrass Minnesota is the usual coldest. I was born up that way many years ago. Read today's paper. Steve Ackerman, the weather guy, talks about the coldest temperature in Madison at -37, I think, at the airport. 1951. And it just was an unusual weather event, calm, clear, Arctic high that just steamrolled in, and new snow. A lot of things just coalesced to get that cold, and he speculates we'll never see that again because of global climate change and global warming. But
You should have had to try to milk cows.
Leonard, I took care of a herd of heifers up in Minnesota, and I've had some 30 below trying to take care of watering cows at that temperature where they are fighting over the water. And oh, yes, I've done it. I've done it. It is tough. I do not envy farmers in winter.
We didn't put the cows out in the yard while we had to clean.
Yeah, that's fun then too. Yeah. It's like my chickens. We haven't let our chickens out for a while, and trying to scrape the floor where their droppings are, and they're just all over the place. It's so much fun in the morning.
No.
Okay, any other, yep, we're a little late. I will ring the bell. Thank you all.
All I need is a email. Can we also do Zoom? Oh, yeah. We're gonna have 65, 75. All here. So we'll need to kind of focus on it. Yeah. Try and shrink it. Yeah, whatever. He'll probably need to use this thing.